I need to talk to you guys about the OneFootball app. See, the OneFootball app is the best football app there is out there, and I use it for a load of different reasons. It's great for transfer rumours, team news and starting 11s, which is actually really useful when I'm making these tactical videos. On top of that, you can now watch game highlights and even live matches, all on the OneFootball app. And believe it or not, it actually gets even better than that, because now you can do it all for free if you use the link in the description down below. So make sure to get in the description, press the link and download the OneFootball app right away. Trust me, you guys will not regret downloading this app. It really is great. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we are going to be talking about Manchester United's 3-1 win over Arsenal. Now this has been recorded on a Monday morning. The game was of course played yesterday, but hopefully I've managed to get this video up nice and quickly. To get into the match, we'll start off with the lineups, and I think both teams set up pretty much exactly how we expected. Manchester United were completely unchanged apart from Anthony coming in for Anthony Elanga, and then Arsenal were how we would have expected, with Thomas Partey out and El Neni also out through injury, meaning that both teams set up in what was initially a 4-2-3-1 formation. And both sides had spells of dominance in this game, and I want to start off with United because they actually started the match as the better team, particularly that first 20 minutes or so. So in terms of from goal kicks, we know how United play at the moment. They tend to send the ball long and don't risk playing the ball out from the back. However, when you have these quality players outfield, there are spells where you get possession and time on the ball. And when this was the situation, United often built possession with a back three. And the way that this would work was one of the fullbacks would drop in, the centre-backs would shift across, and we've got a back three, and the fullback on the other side would push up wider and higher, allowing the winger to then come inside. But that could happen down either side of the pitch, so at times it was Dalot pushing forward with Malacia tucking in, and then at other times Dalot would be deeper, Sancho would come in on this side, Malacia would push up and round, and then again we've got our back three here. Now the reason United done this was because Arsenal regularly looked to press as a front two with Jesus and Odegaard. However, as we know, when you use a 3 against a 2, you've got the advantage because you have the numbers. And what this allowed United to then do was play balls in between the lines here to the likes of Eriksen and Scott McTominay, who both done a very good job of providing the passing option for the centre-backs. And I thought McTominay in particular had an interesting role because he was often pushing up slightly higher, slightly further up the pitch. And also Bruno Fernandes was important here as well. Now, over the past couple of seasons, we've regularly seen Bruno Fernandes dropping into these areas to get the ball, and this isn't where he's at his best. He's better higher up the pitch. In this game, that's where we saw him more. He was operating this space in behind the Arsenal midfield. And with McTominay also often pushing forward, it stopped the Arsenal midfielders from coming out to engage Christian Eriksen on the ball. And we'll see this for the first goal when we look at it in a second. McTominay sort of pinning Lokonga back. Fernandes is in this half space here, so Xhaka can't really commit. And Eriksen is able to get time and space on the ball. Now, again, if we look at United over the past few seasons, they've had Fred or McTominay on the ball here, and the quality on the pass isn't there, so they often go sideways. Not with Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen is always looking for this killer pass forward between the lines. And Eriksen's progressive passing in this game was absolutely incredible. And he had a really good game. Initially, he was making himself available for the pass, but then on the ball, his quality of passing, no other United player has the quality of progressive passing that this player does. And we'll see it for the first goal. So we can see Christian Eriksen in this sort of position here. We can see McTominay push slightly higher, forcing the Arsenal midfielder back. And Bruno Fernandes is just behind me. So where I am here, Bruno is down here. And Eriksen could have played this simple, gone backwards either to De Gea or to Martinez or out to Dalot. But no, he looks to play forward. Progressive passing, something United have missed for a long time now. But this is key. This is how you break teams down. You break the lines, because this one pass is going to take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Arsenal players with one pass. And again, Bruno Fernandes is still behind me, so excuse that. But Bruno Fernandes gets the ball here. And what he's going to do, again, we can see 6 Arsenal players out of the game. He's going to make a diagonal run this way towards the left wing. And Rashford's going to make the run in behind. So as it goes on, Bruno Fernandes carries the ball forward. Gabriel is out here trying to absolutely half him, which he does to be fair. The ref does well, plays the advantage, and Sancho gets the ball here. We can see Rashford's made his run. Sancho plays the ball to Rashford. And who is the player we haven't seen this whole move? Anthony, because he is providing the width. If we go back to this scenario here, when they're building possession like this, Anthony is high and wide on the right, while Sancho is inside on the other side. And that's exactly what we see here. Sancho comes inside, and Anthony hasn't even been seen in this attack yet. But the ball comes to Marcus Rashford. He plays the ball here. Anthony steps onto it and finishes brilliantly on the left foot. And also what we saw here was, one, the use of width from Anthony, but also the benefit of having a left footer on the right wing. And that's why Ten Hag was happy to spend so much money, because a right footer has 2 options here. He can step onto it and go near post, or kind of hit it straight with power, but less accuracy.
Whereas Antony, being left-footed, can open up his body and shape it into the far corner. He can dink the goalkeeper or he can go near post. And that is the benefit of having a left footer on this side. So, literally within the first 60 minutes of him playing, we've seen some of the reasons that Antony has been signed.
I am just going to quickly interrupt because we do have another sponsor for today's video, and that is jerseyfifa.com. The website you need to head to right away to get yourself the latest and greatest football shirts, all at an extremely affordable price. The link will be in the description below, so head there right away to get yourself a great shirt, again at a great price. Now back to the video.
Now, conceding that goal really seemed to wake Arsenal up, because from there they then took control of the game. Xhaka pushed higher in the midfield, Odegaard moved out to the right hand side, and then the fullbacks came in and played sort of inverted, not fully inverted like we see from like the likes of Manchester City, but at times they were quite narrow, or we could see Ben White in a back three with Zinchenko forming a 2 alongside Lokonga. And what this allowed Arsenal to do for a good 40-50 minute patch of the game was completely outnumber the United midfield, and here's why. So Manchester United, of course, defending in a back 4, and Arsenal pushed their wingers extremely high and wide, as they always do, meaning that Malacia can't come out here or inside to help, and the same for Dalot on this side. What we also saw was Jesus dropping in here, Odegaard was here, Xhaka was here, and then also with Zinchenko coming inside as well. If we just draw this out quickly, look at the number of Arsenal players in this area compared to the Manchester United players. It's a complete mismatch, and in particular here, it's a 3 versus the 2 of Manchester United. And this is what allowed Arsenal to take control of the ball for large periods of the game. And Jesus was brilliant. At times the centre-back would go touch tight, but Jesus showed his strength to really hold off the tackle and then progress the ball forward. And then at other times he just completely received the ball unchallenged and was able to drive at the defence. And this is what allowed Arsenal into the game. This allowed them to take control because they had superiority of the ball in this middle third. And that was the key, that was the pattern of the game. Arsenal dominating the ball, but Manchester United, to be fair, to give credit to them, they defended well. Rashford would force the centre-backs one way. We'd then see the wingers kind of matching up with the full-backs. Fernandes following Lokonga, McTominay on Odegaard, Eriksen sort of on Xhaka. But like I keep saying, that is when Jesus then had these pockets that he could get the ball in. And that's where the centre-backs were important. And they played well defensively in their own box, but in terms of in the middle third, I thought Jesus kind of had the upper hand a lot of the time and played really, really well. However, the issue with this was that Arsenal didn't have that creativity in the final third. United got men behind the ball, defended well for large periods of the game in this sort of mid-block that we've been talking about. Arsenal kept committing men forward, pushing players forward, but what this done was it meant that if United were able to win the ball in these areas here, with Scott McTominay and Christian Eriksen again doing a brilliant job, they were then able to pounce forward. And again, it was the forward passing of Eriksen in particular which then made it possible, and of course the pace of Rashford in behind. United were actually made even more dangerous by the fact that we saw Cristiano Ronaldo enter the pitch. And again, this was a tactical ploy which changed the game, because Arsenal also changed tactics as well, because now Ronaldo was on the pitch, they felt that they could push a little bit higher, because they didn't think that Ronaldo had the pace in behind to really stretch them. So United were winning the ball back in these areas, then looking to counter. Arsenal felt that they could squeeze high because Ronaldo didn't have the pace in behind. The problem was, there was still Marcus Rashford on the pitch, and he did still have the pace in behind, and we saw a trademark Rashford performance, but it all came from the progressive passing, winning the ball back in here, the progressive pass from Eriksen to then set the move going forward. We see it here, Eriksen gets the ball here, Odegaard does not press him well enough, but the pass from Eriksen is just ridiculously good. It's so progressive. Look again, the amount of players it cuts out for Arsenal entirely. These Arsenal players are now out of the game. Bruno Fernandes receives the ball in between the lines. We can see Ronaldo out wide, Arsenal playing their high line, and Bruno Fernandes plays a perfect ball with the outside of his boot, in behind for Rashford. He races through on goal, takes a slightly dodgy touch, but then finishes brilliantly past Aaron Ramsdale into the back of the net to put United back in control. Now, of course, as the second half was kind of going on, we saw Arsenal react and they made a few changes. So at this point, Arteta was really trying to push on, really trying to push men forward and try and get all 3 points from this game. And as a result, we saw some very, very ambitious tactical changes. He went to a back 3, but then the issue was in front of that. It was then a 3 and a 4. So we can see that Arsenal now have no wing-backs. They're playing 2 very high attacking wingers, and they've got no holding midfielder with Xhaka, Smith Rowe and Vieira all in the midfield. And again, they are playing this high line with the 3 centre-backs squeezing nice and high, and this just played into United hands absolutely perfectly. Ronaldo was dropping deep and linking the play quite well. I thought this was one of his better performances. And then Rashford just constantly wanted to make this run in behind the defence to expose the Arsenal back line. And for me, this was what cost them the game ultimately. Erik ten Hag, his changes done a brilliant job of suiting the Manchester United strengths. We know they're not the greatest, the most technical players on the ball at the moment, so they were happy to concede possession, sit in this mid-block and counter-attack, and we saw that more so with the changes with Rashford moving out wide, whereas Arteta completely exposed his own team, his own frailties, with his tactical changes. Now, I get that he was desperate, trying to be proactive and get the game won, and if Arsenal had gone on to score 2 or 3 goals, we'd be calling it tactical genius. But it didn't work, and it just left this Arsenal team so exposed at the back. And like I said, Ronaldo was dropping deep into these areas, and Manchester United just executed their game plan perfectly. Arsenal got into good areas, but did not execute with the final pass. United were the complete opposite, and we see it in the third goal here. Ronaldo has dropped out wide here to get the ball. The ball is going to go here, but if we just watch Rashford the whole way against this Arsenal defence, which is now completely jumbled, there is no holding midfielder in this area at all. So Eriksen's going to make a run here, and we can just see that there's no Arsenal player in here that's going to track him. That's because Arteta has gone so attacking with his changes. So Ronaldo drops deep, the ball goes wide here, and then Eriksen is going to make the burst forward in here. And this is an absolutely brilliant pass. We can see Eriksen is just onside. It was very close. But there's just no midfielder tracking him. The defence is a mess because of the change of shape. Eriksen gets in behind the defence, races onto the through ball, plays it across to Marcus Rashford, who again timed his run well, and he finishes into the back of the net. And ultimately, that was kind of the story of this game. Arsenal dominated to possession, outnumbered in the midfield like we were talking about earlier. They played well. They dominated the ball, they controlled the game, but United on the counter-attack was so deadly. Defensively, United were pretty solid. They kind of restricted Arsenal's real big chances, and on the counter-attack, they were brutal. And this was a case of the Manchester United players really executing Ten Hag's game plan to perfection. Ten Hag deserves credit for his changes that he made as well, with Rashford, Ronaldo, Casemiro and Fred came on to see out the game as well. Changes like that were what won Manchester United's football match. And that was ultimately the story of the game. Around the 60th minute, both managers made changes. Ten Hag got his spot on, covered his weaknesses, and really allowed his strengths to flourish. Arteta done the opposite. And that's why Manchester United won this game. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Did Arsenal deserve more from this game? Should they have got all 3 points? Or were United's defenders that good and then that good on the counter-attack? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.